again, everyone, and welcome to this latest edition of Blues Clues from our XBTV studios here at Gulfstream Park. So good to have you with us as we welcome trader Jeremiah Englehart to the show. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, man. Yeah. No, it's so good to have you here. You and I go back a long ways. I think we were both young students of the game back maybe around 2000, 2001, 2002.
Exactly when.
And to, you know, as a fan of the game like myself, to just sit back and watch your success, it's been pretty awesome. What's, in a nutshell, we'll kind of pick apart your career at length. What's the last, say, few years winning in New York, having a solid string at Gulfstream? What's it been like for you?
You know, I get a lot of help at home. I think it starts there first. My wife, you know, with the 5 kids, you know, she does a lot. So yeah, I'm pretty lucky in that regards. I have I'm free to, you know, move around to the different operations. But, you know, I've been lucky with the clients too, having train for the right clients that want to win, and they make it easy to do that. And in a nutshell, that's about it.
Was this always the end game with you, being a trainer? Because obviously, I mean, first and foremost, for anybody out there that doesn't know, you come from a very successful racing family. I mean, your dad, Chris Englehart, king of Finger Lakes. I mean, you're a legendary last name up in Northwest New York. What was the deal? Did you always want to be a trainer?
Yeah, from a very young age, I wanted to be a trainer. You know, follow my dad's footsteps. I always wanted to win a title at Finger Lakes, do everything that he did. You know, and then towards, you know, my end of high school, I went to school for a couple years and wanted to do a couple different things. Went back to the track, and my brother and I purchased our first horse, and it won its first start, so it was all over since then. So
easy game, right?
Yeah.
So with your dad, and he's still very much active at Finger Lakes and has a pretty big string at the New York Racing Association year-round, what are the main keys or elements of training that maybe you use every single day at the barn and maybe in life in general?
It's funny you ask that, because I was just telling him this winter that every winter I don't do that well. I might win 3-4 races in the wintertime. Some of it's stock and some of it's, you know, but my dad does very well in the wintertime. So last year I looked at all of his charts for all of his horses every day, what they did into a race, coming out of a race. And this year I've been implementing his training style for myself in the wintertime. And I've had my best winter. I think we won our 15th race today so far, just since the new year.
So in a way, he's figured out, I mean, in a nutshell, for him, it works for him, and obviously it's working for you. Maybe the cold winter months in New York, racing's a little different, the quality's a little different, there's different conditions, different horse populations. So it sounds like he was kind of maybe ahead of the curve with that as far as really tailoring his operation to that.
Yeah, he's very good at getting horses, the best out of horses, you know, finding what their niche is. And I think for him, that bodes very well in the wintertime and pretty decent during the spring and summer, where I think you have to train a little bit more when you get back to Belmont and Saratoga. So that's kind of when I'll go back to my normal routine, and hopefully it continues to do well. But every horse is different. That's one thing I really learned from him, that, you know, you got to find out what each horse really wants to do, and not just the same thing every day.
Now, we were talking right before we started taping, and come primetime summer racing months, you're rolling up at Naira. You've got a pretty large string at Finger Lakes as well. About 110 horses, give or take?
Yeah, right around there in the summertime, right around, you know, when I'm at, you know, all gears are going, right about 110.
Is it tough running an operation that size and figuring out what chess pieces might belong here and there, and condition books and all that stuff?
I really rely on my assistants, and, you know, like any large operation, you have to know when the horses are doing well, when they need a break, when, you know, what spots. The condition books, you have to, you know, it's pretty important to know. It took me a long time to figure that out when I first started training, but my dad would always say, you know, you got to know where a horse fits. You know, if he's running 4th or 5th every time, and now maybe next time, you know, you're not gonna get there, because by the time he's, you know, you're ready to drop, it's gonna be too late anyway. So I tend to be pretty aggressive, you know, with that, and you know, the owners seem like they want to win, and right now we have pretty good chemistry in the barn.
And it seems like the last 2 Saratogas, I watched from afar last summer, but my last summer working for Naira, 2017 basically emulated your season up there in
Yeah.
2016. Your recent success at Saratoga, I mean, what's that been like for you?
It was crazy, especially because I was 0 for 68 my first, going into Saratoga.
We'll edit that out, all right?
But, again, like the help I have, the assistants I've had working in Saratoga, and, just been fortunate. Last year I was really nervous because we had a really good Belmont going into Saratoga. And I'm like, it's going to be tough to, you lose conditions, you break your maiden. I had some 2-year-olds that had already broke their maiden at Belmont. But, the horses, we did a good job maintaining them, and we found the right spots in Saratoga, and we won a few races, so it was good.
Very cool. And speaking of winning a few races, I read in the racing forum just last night, you got a New York bred by the name of Nine Root, who's owned by Bill Parcells, of course, the coach.
Yeah.
I know you're a lifelong and a hardcore New York Giants fan, and obviously he's got a Super Bowl, at least one Super Bowl with them. What's that whole experience training for Bill Parcells been like for you?
Well, 2 Super Bowls.
Right, so there you go. Don't want to shortchange anybody.
A lot of times he'll want to talk about the horses, and I'll want to talk, football. But it's been, he was, as a kid growing up, he was a hero of mine. I mean, the coach of the Giants, and so it's really, I've enjoyed it a lot, being able to train his horses and kind of learning some things from him, because both sports are pretty similar. He looks at his horses almost like his players. And
really?
And it's pretty interesting to have a talk with him about the horses and the football players, and kind of some of the common things that you see in both sports.
Well, he's a guy I've always loved, his passion for the game. I mean, he really seems like a favorite adopted son of Saratoga Springs, where he has a residence. And I just love a guy who's a legend in the Football Hall of Fame. That crossover appeal, because clearly you see him out here, he could be running a horse this time of year at Gulfstream on a weekday. Boom, I look up in the paddock and he's out.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
He does. He really enjoys it. Like you said, Saratoga, he's out there every morning, talking to fans, and in the afternoon he's up in his box. It's a pleasure training for him as far as that regards too, because it's not like he stays away. He's there. He wants to see his horses, and he's in the mix, which is nice.
And the horse you have for him, or at least the star of the Parcells operation in your barn, horse by the name of Nine Root, who's 3 for 3.
Yeah.
So what's going on with him?
We're thinking, after this race that he just won, maybe the Gotham. It's a little quick back for me, but I think, on that track this winter, it seems like you kind of have to like the surface, and he really has taken well to that main track, new surface there at Aqueduct. So I would think the Gotham would be the next chance, for him, and see how it goes.
Very cool. Now, you and your wife, five children. So you two are very busy.
We were busy.
Clearly. All right, good one. Tell me about your life, though, away from the racetrack, because, I mean, you do run year-round, whether you're at 110 horses or 50, you always have a full shed row and then some, and clearly you've got a full shed row at home with the young kids, having a handful of them.
Yeah.
Balance. Talk about balance.
It's about 98% my wife and 2% me, really. But, I do, when I come home, I try to leave as much of my work, outside the door as I can. The kids love the horses, they love the jockeys, and trainers. They love the sport in general. They'll sit there and watch it all day long.
Well, you've got a big Jose Ortiz fan in the family too, right?
I take him down to see him.
Cool.
I took him out to Palmettos 2 days ago, and Jose was working a horse for Eddie Keneally, and you hear him yell, "Eli!" and Eli looks around, he sees him, "Hey, Jose!"
Love it.
It's a lot of fun. The jockeys, him. Irad and Manny and Luis, they came to his birthday party.
Cool.
But it's the kids. This is kind of what I do it for. For whatever my success is, it's for them and my wife, and it's a lot of fun. I came from a big family, and it's just awesome having them and being able to to raise the 5 kids and with my wife. It's a great experience.
Well, Uncle Jay will have to come over and maybe babysit one night. We'll, me and the Englehart kiddies will watch some old races on YouTube. You have anything in the near immediate future we could look at here at Gulfstream Park? Any maybe maidens or a stakes horse or anything like that?
You know, we gave Small Bear a little bit of a break, and then we started him back. I don't know if he's going to make it back for the meet. I started Indy Union back. She might make something here towards the end of the meet. We ran her in the Demoiselle, and she just didn't like that track at Aqueduct at all. But you know, most of the stuff now, the horses now, we're getting ready just a little bit, and they might miss the end of the meet. I have a couple, you know, a couple horses we claimed that were run back, and I don't know if we'll catch any of the 3-year-old stakes or anything. We had a nice horse in Projector, like you and I just were talking about, but you know, but that's probably about it for now for here.
All right, well, we'll dial you up here at Gulfstream, certainly at Naira, and then way northwest at Finger Lakes. I'm assuming opening weekend we can really send it in. What do they start, all their races at a half mile?
Yeah, 4.5.
So, oh, you'll be ready to roll at 4.5, right?
I don't know. I told my dad the last 2 years, I kind of got off to a real slow start, and everyone would say the same thing. Oh, you know, this isn't going to be the year that your dad's going to take over again, and then we got rolling a little bit, and it seems like the horses last a little bit longer throughout the meet if I start them off slow.
Gotcha. All right. So maybe second, third off the layoff up at Finger Lakes. That's go time. This was a lot of fun, Maya. Yeah, continued success, and want to thank everybody for tuning in to Blues Clues. We'll see you next time from our XBTV studios.